faithful Niner Empire. What's good? What's good? What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. It's always a pleasure. It's a pleasure and an honor to be in front of the best fans in the NFL, the faithful, the Niner Empire. Always a pleasure and an honor. Huge shout out to the 49ers Cutback crew for allowing me to be on their platform. And if you haven't heard of me, if this is your first time seeing the What's Good episode with yours truly, your host, Jay in the Bay, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, same name, Jay in the Bay, IG, Twitter, same names. But let's talk about the 49ers and Seahawks game this week. Now, I have to put this out there in the open. Since Russell Wilson has been drafted by the Seattle Seahawks, I believe in 2010, he has a record of 15 wins and 4 losses against the 49ers. That's something that we have to keep in perspective. That's kind of hard to believe, right? That one quarterback, one team would dominate another team for the past decade. But we got to remember, there were some lean years before Harbaugh and post Harbaugh, and Russell Wilson and the Seahawks have dominated the 49ers. But I think we're catching the Seahawks at the perfect time. Obviously, they beat us earlier on in the year by a touchdown. And unfortunately for them, Russell Wilson got hurt. I think this will be his third game back against us. And let's be real, the Seahawks offense just hasn't been the same. For whatever reason, if it's the injury that's holding Russell Wilson back, obviously they have a lack of running game. That's always been an issue with the Seahawks, especially with Chris Carson. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, unfortunately, for the Seahawks. And he's hurt again, and their running game is suffering. It's one of I believe, the bottom 5 running games in the NFL. And it's funny because the 49ers have the exact opposite. We want to run the ball. We have a top 10 rushing offense. We have one of the steals in the draft in Elijah Mitchell. And the 49ers also are great, we know it, at time of possession, especially in this last 3-game win streak. And it's the exact opposite for Seattle. They've been one of the worst teams as far as time of possession. So it'll be interesting to see what comes to fruition on Sunday. I think the Niners will have an edge. But as I mentioned before, we're catching the Seahawks at the perfect time. They're currently on a 3-game losing streak. 49ers are on a 3-game winning streak. So, I'm excited to play the Seahawks. Obviously, Russell Wilson has been a thorn in in the NFC West since he's been drafted. But as I said, I think we're catching them at the right time. And I think the 49ers will have some opportunities, to exploit on Sunday. And it will be in Seattle, with the Big 12. There's no doubt the Seahawks will not lay down. This is an NFC West division game. Both teams know each other real well. And I still think it's going to be a tough battle whenever you have number 3 lining up under center. So looking forward to the game. Now let's get into Jay's 5 big things. Let's get it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5 big things.
All right. So number 1, next man up. Unfortunately, we have injuries to players on both sides of the ball for the 49ers. We know Deebo Samuel, he's going to be out at least this game. We'll see what happens against Seattle. Also, Fred Warner will be out. Aziz has stepped in for Dre Greenlaw since he's been hurt. Aziz has been doing a pretty good job at the linebacker position. I don't think we could have asked anyone to play better than how Aziz is playing now. But Aziz will have that green dot helmet. He will be relaying the play calls to his teammates on the defensive side of the ball. And it's a higher level of responsibility. We'll see how Azeez does in this role, because this would be the first time this season that he's had those responsibilities. So Azeez will definitely have to, not only step up his play, similar to Fred Warner, but also, excel in his new duties as having that green dot helmet. So he'll be giving all the signals to his teammates. With Deebo out, who's going to step up? I think, Elijah Mitchell, I don't think he can do any more than what he's doing right now. He's had at least 5 or 6 games where he's run for over 100 rushing yards. I think that's what we can expect from him. He's going to get a lot of carries, 20 plus carries possibly. I think he'll run for over 100 rushing yards. But there's got to be another receiver. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk, the Ayuk show. I think he will step up. Juwan Jennings, I think he will step up as well. Juwan Jennings should have had 2 touchdown catches last week. I'm looking forward to more involvement in the offense with Juwan Jennings. Of course, we got to get the best tight end in the NFL involved in George Kittle. There's no doubt about that. Also, Trent Sherfield, Charlie Warner, they may be able to contribute as well. And in addition to Elijah Mitchell, we got to get Jeff Wilson Jr. some carries. We can't, run Elijah Mitchell into the ground. But this is one of my first big things is the next man up, because we're going to have to replace the production of Deebo Samuel and Fred Warner. Number 2, don't get beat deep. Now, Russell Wilson is known for throwing a great deep ball. He has 2 great receivers who can definitely make defenders uneasy. They have 2 wide receivers that our defensive coordinator has to account for. He's going to have some long nights trying to corral these receivers and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And I think it's important, don't get beat deep. And, we can't have any defensive pass interferences. We can't afford to give the Seattle Seahawks offense, more chances to go down the field and score on our defense. That's something we can't do. And we can't allow the big plays. Let's keep everything in front. And this player on our defense doesn't get talked about a lot, but Emmanuel Mosley, he's having a fantastic year so far this year. I don't believe he's allowed a touchdown catch on 51 opportunities. I believe I saw a stat. So Emmanuel Mosley, he's playing great, and he'll have a excellent matchup, a strength on strength matchup, whether he's lined up against Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf. So number 2, don't get beat deep. This is very imperative for the 49ers defense this Sunday. Number 3, Seattle's kryptonite. Now, I'm sure you guys are saying, well, what are you talking about, Jay? What's Seattle's kryptonite? Their run defense is one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Their pass defense is also the worst in the NFL. I mean, this is a historically bad, putrid, terrible Seattle Seahawks defense. And they also are, I believe they're the worst team or second to last team in sacks. So not only do they not get after the quarterback, they can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. The 49ers offense should be able to flourish against Seattle this Sunday. We should be able to run the ball. We already know we want to run the ball at least 30 plus times. The last 3 games, we've won the time of possession by far. I believe we've had at least 37, 38 minutes of time of possession average within the last 3 games. And we definitely need to repeat that again this Sunday against Seattle. And Seattle's offense, they've only, I believe last game, they only had the ball for like 18 minutes. So that shows that they're not converting on third downs. They're not able to run the ball. And the offense just is not running on all cylinders right now. And like I said before, we're meeting Seattle at the perfect time. Number 4. Big game Jimmy. I'm feeling good. I got my Jimmy G jersey on. Jimmy G did not have his best game last week. That's for sure against Minnesota. Obviously, he made some good throws. He made some bad throws. He threw the interception. But this is what we've come to accept, or at least I have as a fan of the 49ers. Jimmy G, it is what it is. He's either going to have an efficient game, maybe, 18 of 22, 2 touchdown passes, maybe 220 yards passing, or he's going to have a week like he did last week, 17 of 26, 1 interception, and this is just who Jimmy G is. But in the three previous games, Jimmy G has been, the driving force behind this offense. And what I'm most impressed with Jimmy G is he's been able to convert on third downs. He's making good reads. He's making good throws in tight windows. And he's allowing this offense to continually move the ball down the field and excel in the red zone. So I think I would say this. I would say we do need Jimmy G to play better than he did last Sunday. I don't know if he can have the same performance and we win. I think he will throw the ball maybe a little bit more since Deebo will be out. Obviously, we can't rely on Deebo's, 6 to 8 carries. So maybe Jimmy G will have a few more throws, but he's going to have to be accurate. And Jimmy G is accurate, especially when he has a clean pocket. And I think he'll definitely have a clean pocket against this putrid Seattle Seahawks defense. Number 5. Opportunistic D. The first week of the season against Detroit, we had 1 turnover. I believe Josh Norman had a fumble forced about week 6, week 7, and the defense was not forcing turnovers at a rate that makes this defense one of the top defenses in the NFL. But the last 3 weeks, we've had 6 turnovers. So I think this is a beautiful trend that needs to continue. And I think it can continue this week, against Seattle. I think Josh Norman, he could punch some balls out. Russell Wilson is clearly not at the top of his game. I believe in the last 3 games, he's only completing about 55% of his passes. So he right now, he's just not the same. I don't know if it's his finger or what it is, but the Seattle franchise, you could say, is in complete disarray, from Russell Wilson wanting a trade in the offseason to Pete Carroll. Will he be back next year? This Seattle Seahawks franchise is in disarray. And I think that will help the 49ers on Sunday. Hey, let's get some turnovers, whether it be forced fumbles, interceptions, strip sacks, whatever it is. Continue to be aggressive and continue to get some turnovers and allow, a short field for this offense so that way we can go down the field and score. But those are Jay and the Bay's 5 big things.
The way Jay.
All right. It's time for Fade Away. Jay, I think this will be an excellent game. I think this will be a game where the Seattle Seahawks will play their hearts out in front of their fans. This is never an easy crowd to play in front of. And we know that as 49er fans, we know that. But I think we are meeting the Seahawks at the right time. They're on a 3-game losing streak, as I mentioned. Russell Wilson is playing some of his worst football of his career, only completing about 55% of his passes. The Seattle Seahawks offense is just not the same. They're one of the worst teams in passing offense yards per game. They can't run the ball. That's on the offensive side of the ball. The defense can't get after the quarterback, one of the worst in the NFL in sacks. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. This team can't really do much right in these last 3 games. And the 49ers, we're looking pretty good. We're on a 3-game winning streak. We are looking toward a playoff run, and the Seahawks are looking toward, the offseason. They're looking at, will Russell Wilson stay with the team? Will Pete Carroll stay? It's crazy how both teams are going in the complete opposite directions. We are in the hunt for, a playoff wild card seed. And we have to treat this game as a 1-game playoff elimination game. That's how we should treat the rest of these games going forward. This will be a tough matchup in Seattle on the road, but we played there before. And I think right now we're just in a better groove. We're just, our defense is playing the best it's played of the year. The offense is playing the best that it's played. We've got some injuries with Fred Warner and Deebo, but I think we have guys that can step up and, fill in those roles. I think one of the players we should definitely look out for, I think, of course, is George Kittle, Ayuk, Jawan Jennings. I think those are probably be the 3 biggest production outside of course, Elijah Mitchell. But I think this offense will be able to score some points on this terrible defense. I think we may have some trouble stopping the Seahawks passing game. We'll see. Because they still have some studs at the wide receiver position with Metcalf and Lockett. But I think the 49ers should have their way on offense. And I think the final score will show that. And I have the 49ers beating the Seahawks. Surprise, surprise. I got the 49ers winning 31, Seahawks 21. And I appreciate everyone for watching this episode of What's Good with yours truly, Jay and the Bay. Feel free to subscribe to Jay and the Bay on YouTube and check out myself on all social media platforms, IG, Twitter, under the same name. But I've got the 49ers winning 31-21. Huge shout out to the 49ers Cutback. Keep doing big things. Congrats on 2K subscribers as well. And thanks for watching. Go Niners.